Imagine being called the greatest athlete in the world, only to have your name erased from Olympic history. This is the story of Jim Thorpe, the man who conquered the 1912 Olympics, lost it all, and fought for justice over a century later. Jim Thorpe was born in 1887 in Oklahoma, a member of the Sac and Fox Nation. Life wasn't easy. He grew up in poverty and faced the hardships of early Native American life. From a young age, Thorpe relied on his natural athleticism, running barefoot across open fields, training without equipment, and sharpening his skills without any formal coaching. By the time he reached adulthood, he had become one of the most versatile athletes the world had ever seen. In 1912, at the Stockholm Olympics, Thorpe competed in two of the most demanding events, the decathlon and the pentathlon. He didn't just participate, he dominated. Thorpe finished first in 4 out of 5 pentathlon events and won the decathlon by an astonishing margin. No one in the world could match his speed, strength, and endurance. When King Gustav V of Sweden awarded him his gold medals, he famously said, "Sir, you are the greatest athlete in the world." And in that moment, Jim Thorpe stood at the pinnacle of global sports. But just months later, everything changed. Newspapers reported that Thorpe had played minor league baseball for a small payment years earlier. At the time, Olympic athletes were required to remain strict amateurs, no payments allowed. The International Olympic Committee moved quickly, stripping Thorpe of his medals and erasing his name from the official record books. It was a crushing blow. The man who had conquered the Olympics was branded a rule breaker and denied his rightful place in history. Despite the humiliation, Thorpe didn't quit. He went on to become a multi-sport superstar, playing professional baseball, football, and even basketball. In fact, he became the first president of what would eventually become the National Football League. But behind the fame, Thorpe faced financial struggles and personal hardships. The greatest athlete of his generation often worked odd jobs just to survive. For decades, Native American groups, historians, and fans fought to restore Jim Thorpe's rightful place in history. In 1983, long after Thorpe's death, the International Olympic Committee returned his gold medals to his family. But there was a catch. He was only recognized as a co-champion, sharing the title with the athletes he had beaten so easily in 1912. It wasn't until July 2022, 110 years after his historic victories, that Jim Thorpe was finally reinstated as the sole champion of the 1912 Olympics. His name was restored, his records reinstated, and his legend secured. Jim Thorpe's story is one of triumph, injustice, and redemption. From poverty to Olympic glory, from heartbreak to historical restoration, his legacy endures as one of the greatest in sports history. Jim Thorpe proved something timeless. True greatness can't be erased.